These right here are two young barred owls, probably new fledglings. You could see they're starting to get some of that adult patterning on them, but they're still on the smaller side. While these two individuals couldn't really make the distinctive "who cooks for you" call, later that day, unfortunately I didn't take video or audio recordings of it, but we did hear a full-grown adult doing that distinctive call. We couldn't find a parent owl anywhere near these two young ones, so they were probably just newly independent. These three white-tailed deers were grazing on grass very close to where we were standing. It didn't seem to mind our presence very much. This small herd seemed to consist of a full-grown adult and two younger individuals. There's probably a male somewhere close by, but we didn't see one. I've had encounters with wild deer before, but this is probably the closest I've ever been to some, and overall that experience of being next to wild deer never gets old. This little pond right here was actually full of so many different species of fish. Here in this shot you could see some kind of carps, like small minnows, some eastern mosquito fish, and I believe smaller warmouth sunfish. A couple of sunfish that I can't tell what species they are in this shot. Um, but yeah, here's a bunch of those minnows or shiners. Can't tell what they are. And now some smaller sized Florida gars, as well as a smaller sized Florida largemouth bass. Here's a very large Florida largemouth bass. You could see the fringe of the mouth going past the eye and everything. Such a big one. There's a couple of them in this shot actually. I was finally able to get a good view of one of these guys landed. This is an ornate bellamoth. You can see that very distinctive color pattern with orange, pink, and white striping with those small black spots. Nothing else looks like it. This right here is a female metallic pennant named after that bluish iridescence on the body, while males are entirely that color, black but iridescent blue. Females are mostly a reddish-brown color, only showing hints of it throughout little parts of the face and thorax. This right here is an eastern giant swallowtail, and as you can guess by the name, it's actually one of our largest butterfly species. A great ID feature on this species that's not shown in this shot is that the underwings are almost completely yellow, very different from the black upper wings with yellow striping. While the males of the species are usually pretty easy to see, with bright blue bodies and are usually flying out in the open, it's always a little bit harder to get a glimpse of a female like this one. Both sexes, though, have the distinctive bold two white spots at the end of the abdomen, hence the name spot-tailed dasher. If you're a regular viewer of my channel, you may recognize this dragonfly as being the sandhill clubtail, which is actually the species that wasn't known to be found in South Florida until I discovered a population of these guys at Okeechobee Park. Well, I finally was able to catch another one there, and this angle is actually showing another way you could tell the difference between these guys and the cypress clubtail, which is our expected species to get here in South Florida. On sandhill clubtail, there's a pretty bold black line on the face going across from eye to eye, whereas the face on cypress clubtail is pretty much just plain pale yellow. Of course, there's also the handy occiput rule, but it's always good to know that there's different ways to tell the difference between the two. I let go of him and he's actually still just crawling around my hand. There he goes. This long-jawed orb weaver right here called Leucalge argyria, which is the Latin name as it doesn't have a common name, is currently eating an eastern pond hawk who, unlucky enough, got stuck in this orb weaver's web. Is long dead, and you can see the body's already decaying from the venom, and the head has already fallen off.